Hi everyone, it's Miriam Ortiz y Pino here with More Than Organized with another edition of More Than Organized Monday. Sorry I'm late, but I had a client this morning and so I had to adjust some things. Actually, I had a client today because usually I have Mondays off, but I'm traveling to the NAPO conference tomorrow, and so I had to switch my Tuesday client to my Monday client. And that's a hint for you. If you have to change things, change them in as least obtrusive way as possible. But that's a whole topic for another day. So we kept the client on her regular week schedule, but we scooted her to Monday instead of Tuesday. So alternatively, you can just keep it on the week schedule and push it back a week and skip one every once in a while if you work with clients regularly. Okay, so also apologizing for the slightly less cool version without my opening card on here, but for some reason the streaming key isn't working on my OBS software today, so we're doing this from the phone and a tripod, and so it's a little bit different, and I don't have a good place to put my little tripod right now, so I had to rig something up real fast. But I didn't want to miss this because these More Than Organized Mondays are fast becoming one of the favorite parts of my week. It gives me a chance to put into your brains a little something that I don't always have a spot for in my blog, or to talk about in other ways, a short post or whatever. I get to elaborate a little bit on something I've been thinking about or something that's been causing my clients to struggle a little bit. And so it's a great way to just talk to you a little bit more informally for that kind of connection with you, and to help answer questions that come up pretty frequently from my clients and people I just speak to. So today I really wanted to talk a little bit about myths, and I'm going to talk about 3 myths today that have been out there a long time, and I still hear them to this day. People talking about these 3 things, and they don't work. So I'd like to banish them from the world because they don't actually work. The first one is touch a piece of paper once. You can't open an envelope and take the piece of paper out of the envelope and only touch the piece of paper once. You really need to touch it and put it where it goes next in the process. So for me and my 1-minute mail solution kit is where you open the envelope and you throw away the marketing materials and the envelope and you put just the part of the paperwork you need to do the task or pay the bill or call and deal with something into your bills and correspondence spot. So for me, that typically means opening my binder and putting it in the to pay section. It's a slash pocket and a binder. I stick that stuff in there. So then the mail comes a flat pile instead of envelopes with jagged edges that are catching on everything. And it allows me to know where it is. So the bills and correspondence go into the binder there. Other things go where they go. So the reading materials go directly to the coffee table and some stuff goes directly to the trash. But it's touch a piece of paper once. That's not possible. You know, now when I pay my bills, I gotta pull it out of that pocket, look at it, write the check or make the payment online, and then move it to the statement file or the receipt pile where I can tax deduct it at the end of the year. So eliminate that touch a piece of paper once thing. Make decisions and move the paper forward through your process is a much better way of looking at it. So instead of just dumping it on the counter for later, go ahead and keep it in the next place. So if you don't have time for that, it's fine to leave it in one pile, but make sure once a week at least you are tackling that pile and putting the stuff where it needs to go. Hey, look at this. My cat wants to come in. He's hanging out at the window down here. Say hi to everybody. All right, let's let him in. This is the one cool thing when we're filming on the phone. Look at you, covered with dirt. All right, so yeah, that's fun. All right, so the touch piece of paper once. eliminate it from your vocabulary. Instead, move the piece of paper forward in your process. The other one that I've heard several times recently is the one in, one out. Well, I don't like that because sometimes I find something that replaces 2 or 3 things, not just one thing. And so if you're always doing a one in, one out, you're staying at the same level of clutter. Sometimes you need to get rid of more than you're bringing in as the replacement. And sometimes something that you used to use, or you had a favorite and then it breaks and you have to replace it, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 tries to find the one you like best to replace it. And so there's a temporary keeping all of them until you make that determination. And then you keep one. And sometimes the thing that used to do a combination of things just doesn't exist anymore. And so you need 2 different things to tackle the same job, or 3 different things to tackle the same job. Now, I like using the most simple version of things, but for instance, I used to have a different printer that also had a fax machine on it, and it had a collator on it, so it would run pages in order and keep them collated instead of one page at a time, and it would do front and backs. And it was quite a bit larger. It was like twice as big as the machine I have now, and when it died, I just needed something really fast and really cheap. And so I got the first one I found in my budget for the month, and it doesn't do all those other fancy things. I don't really need a fax machine anymore. I can run to a UPS store or a mailbox store and have them do the fax for me. But I do miss printing on both sides of the paper, and so eventually I may get another fancier printer. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't always cover all the things that you are replacing. And so you need to make those kinds of decisions. So it's not a strict one in, one out. It is more of a, what do I need to get the job done? And which is my favorite version of that, okay? Often it's something cool that replaces 2 or 3 things, but it's not necessarily a strict one in, one out. Even with clothing and stuff, when people come and they want to, I talk to people and they are doing a t-shirt for a t-shirt or whatever, but maybe it's a casual t-shirt and the one you just bought is a fancy t-shirt. It might not be a strict one in, one out situation. So just make sure you are picking based on the solution to a problem you're having, not based on a rule that doesn't actually work. Okay. Third myth I wanted to dispel is that containers will save you space. They do not. The container itself takes up room. Even a file folder, okay? So a file drawer might be full of hanging files and other files in them. I'm grabbing an example here. So maybe this is happening. You have a file and you have a bunch of pieces of paper in there, and you have file folders inside the hanging folder because they're a category in a group. But what happens when you have one piece of paper in a file that doesn't have anything that goes with it? Now the one piece of paper takes up the room of one piece of paper plus 2 pieces of cardstock, which is what the heavy cardstock too, which is what the file folders are made out of. So now it's taking up more than 3 times the space as a piece of paper. So you gotta think about it like that. Sometimes the container itself has a width and a height and a lid overhang and those kinds of things so that it actually takes up more room than not having it. Which is why I like to always put things away first and only pick up a container to wrangle it if there are a bunch of different sizes of things that need to be in the same pile. Or if they're awkward sizes and shapes and so they tip over. Like my various cords and adapters and gizmos that attach to the computer. So I have my old microphone. I have, this is a box of, or my recorder for when I do speaking gigs. I sometimes record. I have the frame for the phone on the tripod, and you know, some cords and headsets, and my drive, my disk drive, because I have an Apple Air and it doesn't have a drive built in, so I have a separate one. But these are weird shapes. These I could just set on a shelf, but then they'd take up a lot of space. So I just slide them into one container and it fits, keeping them neat and upright on the shelf. But does that make sense? The container itself might take up more room than the thing you're storing. So be aware of that, and keep it simple whenever possible. So fewer slots, fewer drawers, fewer dividers, and you'll get more bang for your buck out of your containers. Also, anything that flares, sometimes they look really pretty, but they're not great for storage containers because you can't store the right amount of stuff in them. So look for straight up and down sides whenever possible. All right, thanks for joining me again. Hey Julia, how are you? Good to see you. And let me know if you have any questions. We'll be doing another Q&A on May 11th, and next Monday I will have another edition of More Than Organized Minute. In the meantime, if you want some great tips, tricks, and secrets on how to get and stay organized, go to morethanorganized.net. There's several options and free resources available for you there. Thanks so much for dropping by. Sorry about the time shift, but life happens. See you next week. Bye.